All right. Start letting some people in here.
I don't see your video. Got your lens covered or something. I saw you before.
What's that? Are you talking to me, Jeff?
I hear you. I don't see your video.
I can see my video.
Okay.
I can see you.
The other people's video. What's up, Neil?
How you doing, brother?
Good, man. Good. Things are finally starting to normalize a little bit in our new life here.
Are you in Maine?
We are. Yeah.
So
It's
you're a temporary maniac.
what's that?
You're a maniac.
I've always been a maniac. I'm finally home. It looks like we got Paul Myers.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good, man. We're actually, I'm 14 miles from the Canadian border right now.
Oh, very cool. Whereabouts? Like Fort Erie, Niagara Falls? What are
Up in Maine.
you? Okay.
So near like New Brunswick.
Okay, yeah. Okay, cool.
A lot of
I think
moose
that's,
up that way.
I haven't seen any yet.
Yeah, you will.
They better not get my stuff. What's up, Vadim from Florida?
Hey, what's going on, Patrick? What's going on? How
What's
are
up,
you?
brother, man? It's good to see you.
Likewise, finally able to join via video, hopefully for the entire session before my kid walks in and starts to crash things around.
Yeah, they do that, huh?
I know, yeah, he's taking a walk now, so that's why I have time to connect.
Awesome. How are you doing? How's everything going for you?
Doing well. A couple of wins. Finally was able to close one of my clients for per lead charge. So he's paying me per lead now. Before he was reluctant because he wanted to do 10%. I said, listen, we can't do this any longer. I'm not going to babysit it. Whether you take it or not, I'm cool with that.
You went muted for some reason, Vadim. Let me see what happened there. Hold on one second. You should have a thing that says.
Unmute. Yep, I'm good. You hear me now?
Yep. Yeah.
So I was saying that basically, I'm not sure at what point we got cut off, but basically I struck a deal with my client. I've been sending him like 50 or 60 calls. He wasn't very good at closing. And eventually I told him, listen, here's the deal. You pay per lead, I'm not doing 10%, or I go elsewhere. And he realized that there's so many calls coming in, and if I go elsewhere, I'm going to compete directly with him. So he's trying to make things work at his end. He's working on his sales team, training him, making sure that, they can start closing more deals for him, to make money as well. But he's on board. So he's also an SEO client at the same time. So the whole structure worked out pretty well.
That's great. Yeah, that's great. It's not uncommon for when people who are on percentage deals for them to not close. Like that seems like that seems really common. If you're on a percentage deal, a lot of these deals, they just don't get closed, right? So, it's an easier sale because the client has no risk. And this is how I started. And I realized after not too long that like, I don't want to be policing this. And, if you blow one of these people up, if you blow one of these business owners up and, or they are somewhat disorganized, then you're the one who loses whenever it's on a percentage deal because you're relying on them to make the correct connection, right? So I know that Harry has like kind of like a pay per closed deal, a flat fee per closed deal, and he ends up doing a lot of legwork to make these connections, and it works. I think he's got like a really honest client. He's an older guy, but I for the most part, I feel like I've been burned on those percentage deals. So we're kind of always trying to move to a flat fee whenever possible.
Right, that was my strategy from the beginning. I really don't want to babysit anyone. I really don't want to do 10%. I don't want to follow up. I don't want to be in their business. I want to be on work on my business and
Right.
let them handle the rest. So it seems to be working out for now. We'll see how it's going to play out later on.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So
All right. Do we got any other wins? Neil, what's up, buddy?
This, I don't know if you guys have already done this, but I kind of fell into this. I was in my vape store that I go to now, and I was talking with the guy, and I love that they treat you good. It's a really good place, and he's like, "Hey, would you give us a review?" I said, "Would you give me a review?" He goes, "Absolutely." So while I was there, he just went blah, 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 and got me a review, right? And
Right.
then I've got other businesses, so he did a few reviews for me. He's got multiple stores, so I did reviews for his other stores. So then I passed this on to guys I'm partners with. And one of my guys got 2 reviews today from business owners. To me, I was like, why didn't I think of this before? It's a quick way to get reviews. Business owners want reviews for their business.
Yeah.
So
It's also like a little bit of a Trojan horse there where you're not really saying like, hey, I want to do marketing for you or anything like this, but hey, leave a review for my marketing company and like talking about how we helped you get more sales, right? Then like the wheels start turning in his head and it could easily turn into you doing work for them.
Well, I wouldn't do a vape store, but I would definitely look
Right.
at that and someone I was going for.
It could be,
It's
right.
a backdoor in,
That's right. Yeah, I wouldn't want to do a vape store either. I actually got approached for that one time. Someone on my team used to work in a vape store and we kind of turned it down. Not really something I want. I agree. I think that's a smart move to steer clear of that stuff.
But on the flip side of that, the one site I've had, it's been in the same spot forever, right? It's number 2 in the map pack. And the big dog in town is number 1 and number 3. When I got those reviews, it bumped to number 1, and I'm one of the organics too. So
Yeah, that's smart. Like you guys, I did a call to try to help. We have, we're trying to plug a number of bugs that have developed with all the stuff we've added recently. So I've been jumping on some Zoom calls, and after the Zoom call I did with Cliff, we started looking at one of his GMBs, and he's looking for ways to rank it. There was no reviews on it. And, if you guys look at I think it was April 14th, if you look in the document, the announcements with the list of the calls, we have the different phases that we go through. And one of the first things that we're doing is we're trying to get reviews. Like I wouldn't be happy if my GMB has less than 25 reviews, especially if I'm in a more competitive niche, that's going to go up. So if you're sitting around trying to rank a GMB that's got 3, 4, 5, 6 reviews, that's a red flag in my agency hey, this is a deficiency that we need to correct quickly. So like Neil is talking about, there's a lot of different creative ways for you to get reviews, right? But you cannot just let it float by with a minimal around. We know that's a ranking factor. So it's just like, you got to maximize all the stuff that you can get, right? Especially, I know a lot of you guys, myself included, took a little bit of a hit with the latest Google update on your GMBs and stuff. So like, let's do the stuff that we know is going to have a positive influence. Let's just pretend, and I don't agree with this at all, but let's pretend that reviews did not influence ranking at all. It's certainly logically going to influence the close rate, right? Do you ever go on Amazon and look for things that like, hey, this one has 4.8 stars and this one has 3.2 stars. Like, does that make a difference to you? For me, it does. I'm not going with a 3.2 star. I'll pay more money. When people are deciding, especially when they're trying to decide for a lot more expensive items than maybe something you would buy on Amazon, maybe they're getting a new driveway, right? Like they're going to want those reviews, and it's going to make it easier for your clients to close, which means that it's more valuable to them. It means that they can close for more amounts. And like I said, I 100% believe it to be a ranking factor. So, you know, be creative with this, just like getting GMBs. You can apply the same strategies for getting reviews, and don't leave those. Don't let that just kind of be something that's not important to you. You've got the reputation management stuff built into this. So you could enroll your clients into like, hey, this is a part of working for us. We've got this. Normally, if you're not our client, we charge $300 a month. But because you're part of our team and our client, you can access this part for free, or maybe you upcharge them. But if you kind of come at it from that angle, then maybe they can start to see the value of these reviews. And I would explain to them these benefits. Like, this is why it's important. Every time you've completed a job, then you've created an asset. And if you don't take advantage of that asset, then you're kind of letting it go. And since these leads are all exclusive to you, right, then ranking better is going to be better for you. That means you're going to get more business. It's going to mean that you can close your business easier and you can close it for a larger amount. So we really need these reviews as much as possible. I need your help on this. I need you to help me help you, right? Using some language like this to try to get them to kind of get on the same team with you. And then maybe we don't have to do such a creative thing, and we can actually like use the system that Google created for the purpose that they created, where it's like the reviews of the real customers, right? That would be ideal, right? So that's great. You know,
I got
what's
a
up?
question to it. Because I've done other reviews too on different products, and it came up that if I wanted to be a Google or whatever it is, guide,
A local guide.
local guide, and talking with one of the other guys in the group, he's like a level 5. He goes, yeah, it helps this and that. So
Yeah.
I did it. I'm a level 2. Does that help being a guide?
That does help. I'm not, you know, nobody knows to what degree, but the common thought process is that the reviews from local guides are worth more than the non-reviews. It's almost like Google's whole policy for ranking both the GMB and the website really comes down to trust, right? So when you're getting strong backlinks, the reason that they're strong is because they're more trusted by Google, right? If you got a backlink from Microsoft, that's a lot more trusted than a backlink from like, you know, whatever, Joe's Tire Repair. So the same thing is with the local guides. These people have kind of like established, and Google has that. If you like look through your Google timeline, they're always tracking where you go. So as you go to these different places, right, you go out to eat, whatever you do, wherever you're like spending your money, I would be reviewing things and kind of like building that up. And you can apply the same thing with Yelp and some of these other ones. And then when it's time for you, you can be writing a review for your own clients, right? And those reviews will be worth more. So I've heard of people having multiple local guides accounts. I don't know exactly how that works. I've never done that, but I know that there's a lot of belief around the fact that they're worth more. All right, do we got any other wins?
We have one in the Facebook group. Patrick, Josh Gowan is saying that he got a small win. He just started getting organically generated leads for himself. He sent in a proposal for a web build and a lead gen. So congratulations on that, Josh. That would be getting off the runway.
Awesome,
there.
Jeff, I think you had a couple wins this week, didn't you?
Well, I had those clients that I was working on. I think I mentioned them in one of the last couple of calls where we kind of stair-stepped them in. So I got them up to the amount that we had agreed upon and collected the money, and all is right in the world. And they're both really, really good clients with a lot of long-term potential. And we're talking in long-term kind of language, you know, years out. That's the way I always see the conversations, 3, 5, 7, 10 years down the road. I want to be working with you. And the one of the clients is now, I stair-stepped them in half of the minimum, and then the other half last month and the other half this month. So they're at our full minimum, and then they want 3 more niches. So I'm trying to tee Patrick up for a conversation so we can get their 2 partners and Patrick and I on a call and just kind of frame out what that looks like. Because if they go for that, you know, we can really build it out over the end of this season and through the winter, and the next season it'll pop off and it'll just be ridiculous. So
yeah, absolutely. We're also oh, what's up, man? Go ahead. What's up, Joseph?
I had a lead gen get rented out guy canceled, found a new client for it. And they contacted me earlier this week because they're in like West Texas and they want to do stuff in Sacramento and in Dallas and everywhere. And then they wanted to go to SEO route. So, you know, I did like the whole scope of work thing, saying, hey, this is how much it is, and like this is your competitors. We need to do this to your site. They have like 3-page site, 3-page sites saying the same thing, just 2 different domains. So I was like, look, just like I need half of the 50% down before I do anything. And you know what I mean? They wanted to go the SEO route because I guess they didn't want to pay for leads or whatever. As soon as I hit them with that like 50% down, it's only like 1,700, right? For half of the website. And then SEO don't kick in until I finish the website. But, you know, I think I kind of convinced them with that price point to do the lead gen route because it's going to be more expensive. You know, I do that on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, man, it's gonna cost you this much.
Yeah, I'd love to speak to that because I think that's a fine strategy, right? But this is you know, after seeing the last several years and kind of like coaching people and helping people, I think an important skill set is that kind of like no one is going to come to you with the idea of lead gen. They're just not going to show up with that idea like, hey, no one's going to say, hey, can you build a site that you own and you control, and I'll just pay you rent for this? Like most people don't even know that business model exists, but I think it is an art and an important skill set to kind of do what Joseph did here. I do it in a little bit different way. I'm going to share the way I do it because I think it could be useful, but when these people come in for SEO, all these people that have come to us for referrals, none of them are like coming as lead gen. They're coming as like SEO or just get me more business. And then we explain our business model and we say that that's just kind of the way it is. So here is kind of how I roll with it is like, look, when we started this business, we started out building for other people and we would work on their stuff for a few months. And, you know, if we did a really good job, a lot of times we would get fired because they would be kind of overwhelmed. And we realized that that wasn't the best business model. So when I say that, I am using a story to kind of like let them know that we're capable of creating a lot of business without like, I'm just kind of like, it's an assumption that's made by the way that we've shifted our business model. Okay. So that's kind of like the point of that part of the story. Then as we transition and I say, what we do now is we don't charge until we bring business, right? And the way that we do this is we build the sites, we own the sites, and we take care of everything for ranking it and the phone numbers and all of that stuff. And what we want you to do is we want you to focus on what you're good at, which is like, you know, cutting the trees or whatever this niche is. And we're gonna kind of be your technology partner. As long as you are good to us, these leads that come through this site are going to be 100% for you. Like they're exclusive to you. Like we're looking for a long-term partnership and we're looking for somebody that wants to blow up their business. And I've spent years learning how to do what we do. And it's just, you know, with the amount of people that we have looking for our services, we've decided that it doesn't make sense to run the business model a different way. So you're kind of setting it up when you say that, hey, with the referrals or the business that we have coming in, like this is a big departure from desperation. When you start using language like this, you're basically saying in nice words that it's my way or the highway. This is how we do it. Like you've throughout this, I have several like credibility things that I've put in here. And I'll tell you, here's another one. As we do what we do, it's going to be a lot for you to try to keep up with this website because it's going to get overwhelming. And it sounds like a good problem until the faucet really starts running. We've had people get buried, right? When we're at the beginning of this conversation, we've kind of like both a little bit unsure of what the other one can provide. I know on my end, because I've done it all over the United States, that I can blow up your business. But maybe you've had other people. But what I've seen time and time again is people like you that say that they're going to be able to handle all this business, but when it starts coming in, and when it's coming in from Google, where the lead source is organic, these people are really motivated when they come through, because before they even talk to you, they're searching Google, they're calling the phone number, and they're trying to set up an appointment. If you get a constant flow of leads like that, then you're going to be closing more, and it can be like a lot of pressure. So we kind of got this like two-way feeling out, and it's like, so when I'm talking about that part of the conversation, it's letting them know that they have to qualify too, right? It's not just like, hey, I'm going to do this for you no matter what. It's like, I've got to find the right client that I believe in, because it's going to be a big investment on our part to build out all these assets, right? You don't need to tell them how much it's going to cost or what your cost structure is. You can just let them know this is going to be a big investment for us. So we need to be sure that you're the right type of client. How are you going to find more people when stuff starts to come in? So the way we do it is we have a startup cost, and then you don't pay anything until the leads start coming in. I can't guarantee you what that's going to look like, but I'll tell you, once it happens, this can be a game changer. If you've never ranked on the top of Google, this will be a big difference in your company. You know, we have clients that are doing several $1 million a year. And I asked one of them the other day how much their business comes from us. And they said 99%. So, you know, it can be a huge difference for your business. And I ask that you be patient. Google doesn't give us a playbook of how long this is going to take to rank. So we don't know. If somebody comes in and says that you're going to get you to the top of Google in 90 days, they're lying, because it's unpredictable. We don't know. So we do a startup cost. We're happy to update you, but really, this is how our business runs. And, you know, if this doesn't work for you, that's totally cool, but this is how we do it. So you kind of build this and you set up these kind of blocks that let them know that you're credible. And, you know, Joseph, I know that you have several sites that are bringing in like hundreds of leads, right? So you have credibility that you can use, and you can say, look, this is how we do it. And, you know, when, if you want to buy a Honda Civic, I'm sure you can go out and find the Honda Civic, but we're the Ferrari. And, you know, this is how we do it. We've gotten to the point where we have to make choices on how we allocate our resources. And this is what we think is the best. And it's worked out really well for our clients. It's allowed them to focus on what they're good at, and not be kind of sucked into like all the, you know, tech dynamics. Right. So
This guy's already a LeadSnap client. He just wanted to start building his brand, right?
Yeah. So that's
he doesn't want to pay the cost.
Yeah.
That, you know, he's like, oh, let me do the numbers. Let me check the numbers. I'm like
yeah,
just do LeadSnap like we've been doing. And then like another client of mine who was the same one that was whenever I was on like the spotlight, he finally decided to do like SEO and build his own site, because I've been telling him to do that for over a year. And whenever it snowed really bad here and we had hailstorm here, he missed out on a lot of work because no one could find him. No one knew he was in business in the area because he didn't do the GMB I told him to set up, didn't have that site. So I spent like over an hour with him explaining like how everything works, how everything costs. I have a price per GMB, you know what I mean? And all this stuff. He wants like 5 of them. And so he called me the other day, you know what I mean? Like, hey man, can you cut me a deal, do all these GMBs, you know, pretty much wanted me to do all this work for nothing. And also because in the contract that I sent him, I didn't put a time frame, but I did put it's going to take at least 6 to 12 months. But you know what I mean? They all want these guarantees on how long it's going to take to rank. There was another company that was like, look, what can you do in 3 to 6 months? I'm like, I'm gonna do the best I can. You know what I mean? You're in Dallas, Texas. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a big city. Like, I can't. No one can really guarantee. I said no one can guarantee you anything. You know, like that. If they do, they're lying, because it's population, the competition, and Google. Like, we don't have control of that stuff.
Right. I think that's great. I think that you're going to get a lot of trust when you don't promise them something and you just say, I don't know. I don't know how long it's going to take. It's going to take at least this long. We've seen it in other markets where it's taken this long. So, you know, I just ask that you be patient. I never push my clients towards doing their own SEO stuff. I like to kind of have their dependence on me, but what will happen a lot of times, if you do a really good job for a client, then they'll start asking you. And, you know, at that case, they're one of my clients. they're kind of like in my family at that point, and I'm going to do whatever I can to help them. If that's what they want, then I'm going to find a way. So that's completely different than somebody coming in that's wanting SEO from the beginning, right? I'm going to move them to lead gen almost every time. So if you kind of build that trust and you establish yourself as their best choice, and then you say, this is how we do it, then like let them pick whether they want to work with you or not. If they believe that you're the best choice, they're going to choose you every time over SEO, right? We talk about that conversation later. A lot of it comes down to the framing. You see, there was a lot of psychology that went into that conversation of like how I position that, right, and said it to them. And it's not like all that stuff is true. I'm not tricking them or lying to them, but there's different ways that you can deliver the same message, right? So I think it's a really important thing. So for those of you guys that are finding yourself getting a lot of SEO deals instead of lead gen, rewatch this. And I would say, practice it, maybe make it your own stories, make it your own language, run it in front of the mirror 20 times, 50 times until you have it down and you just feel comfortable saying it. Like a lot of this stuff, a lot of our stories and stuff, Jeff and I have done a lot of sales calls together and he's heard the same thing, but it's been like, I'm very comfortable with these stories. I have kind of my own progression and it changes based on like what the client's telling us and like where they are in their business and, who they are and the types of stories that they need to hear. After you've been in this business for a while, then you've kind of got a lot to draw on, right? So I think that wraps up the wins. I want to demo a couple.
Back up real quick, if you don't mind, Patrick.
Yes, go for it.
So everybody on the call knows, like 2 months ago, I was posting some stuff in the group about texts that I had sent out, and there was a bunch of commenting about how to approach people via text. These people that want to come on with these 3 other niches that now love us and want to build their whole business around it, that was one of those texts. So that's the progression of how this can go, right? It's like I reached out, it was the guy that tried to take control of the conversation. And he's like, well, do you need it in toast? I'm like, dude, I can't remember what I said, but it was big. I didn't let him hijack the conversation is the way I said it in the chat, right? And that's led into giving them trial leads over 3 or 4 weeks, getting them up to speed, getting them on a trial, or getting them stair-stepped in at half of the minimum, now the full minimum, and now they're ready to go bang it out with 3 more niches. And they love us. They're convinced. They don't have, there's no question in their mind, like we're the real deal and we're the ones that they want to build their company with. And so when I asked him today, when I was on the conversation, because we were going to try to go after 1 more niche and charge them a startup fee, and I pitched that to him, he says, yeah, no problem, but I actually want to go after these other 2 niches too. And I said, well, here's what I see is like, maybe this is going to be overwhelming when we get into next season and this other niche starts coming in, like, how are you going to handle that? And he's like, well, we want to build the biggest construction company in this market in the whole region. So we're ready to roll. And it's like, okay, at that point, I want to get Patric on the call because I want them to hear what Patric's mindset is, right? I want them to know for sure that when they start doing multiple 7 figures, Patric he's got that mindset. Like I didn't grow up in like, high level sports and soccer and all that stuff, but I just like to win overall. Patric likes to compete. So when he goes in with the conversation where I'm going to annihilate all of your competitors, I don't ever really talk like that. I'm just like, yeah, we're going to win. That's just the way it is. We're just going to win. But when Patric starts talking about all that competitive stuff, certain people are going to latch onto that conversation. And it's just a conversation that I'm not particularly great at that conversation. So I really want them to hear Patric's mindset because that's going to solidify a long-term relationship that we're both going to build, and a really great business around. So that's how this works, right? It's like that's been 60, 90 days ago, and now we're in a position to take them to not our highest level client, but definitely in the solid mid-tier client, higher mid-tier.
Yeah, absolutely. I really can see based on the way you've set this up, Jeff, this client over the next like 6 to 12 months move into somewhere in the 8 to 10K a month with what we would be building out for this person. And
Right.
This client started out at $750 a month. The client now that we have at $11,500 a month started out at $1,500 a month. So, just kind of doing what Joseph is doing here, where it's like building more and more pieces on for them. We're not building the pieces for them. We're building the pieces for ourselves. So there's that like shift that Joseph, I see so much from you and what you've done. And I think just in the interactions we've had, I think a couple small tweaks can have a big impact. Just the way that you're strategizing this stuff with, not pushing their SEO, but building out more of your own stuff. And I see these small things in a lot of you guys, and I think it makes a big difference over time. Just like Vadim, right? Not allowing it to be a paper lead for too long, right? Moving it to be a flat fee, and then kind of keeping your eye on what that is. And you build out the more assets, so that flat fee just continues to go up and up and up. We said this before. It's a lot easier to raise the rent on an existing client who trusts you, who loves you, who you've got this relationship for, who you've made a big difference for in their business. And, they want to make sure if you're doing all this for them and like things are increasing for them, then like it's easy for them to see why it should be more, right? We're just trying to keep value for value here, right? Okay, cool. Right. We got any other, I think that's the end of the wins, right? Jeff, we're caught up on all that.
Yep.
Henry, what's up, brother?
Harry's got one thing here.
Bonjour.
Bonjour to you.
How was it? How was it in Montreal?
Exactly. I have a win that
Uh-oh, did we lose his sound?
I accidentally unmuted him. I thought that Harry was going. Sorry, Henry. Go ahead.
No
man.
problem. No problem.
Sorry about
I just got a win yesterday. It's an SEO client, but I'm happy about it. Just fast money coming in. So it's another second SEO client I locked in a week.
That's awesome, Henry. Seems like you've come a long way. I think we had a kind of one-on-one Zoom about a year ago where you didn't have any clients, you didn't really have any leads coming in, and now you've got multiple deals that you're landing in a week. And I know that you've got other deals, and I know like I've been on a few conversations to try to help you through support issues, and I feel like proud of you, and it's cool to see how this has changed for you in the last 12 months.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Working hard on it.
Yeah. So just what advice would you have to somebody who's kind of like where you were 12 months ago? What have you learned? What things like stick out, and what has really made the difference for you? Aside from lead generated being an awesome software that just like, not that, the other stuff.
Well, I'd say ask for advice and always be a student. Those are my two.
Yeah.
And keep going at it. That's all I'd say.
Yeah, no, that's good. I did the same thing when I was learning, is like trying to ask people who are a little bit further down the road, or like maybe you've already solved a problem that I'm struggling with, and don't just get into the shell where you have to do everything on your own, because like a lot of us being entrepreneurs, problem solvers, we forget to kind of leverage the knowledge of what we have in front of us, right? In the group that we built here.
I agree.
So that's awesome, Henry. Congrats, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Patrick.
You're welcome. All right, Harry, did you have something?
Yeah, just a quickie. I nailed this is sort of an accidental thing, but I nailed a client that I started with today I was in e-commerce for 25 years. So he hired me to come in, and they probably have a $100 million company selling T-shirts and apparel to companies who print those things and screen print them and do embroidery and all that. It's huge. So I went over and looked at their facility data. It's just 800, what did he say? 800 million T-shirts. No, 800,000 T-shirts in this one warehouse where we were. That's how big it is. So anyway, it's a nice little client. It's not SEO and it's not lead gen, and it's not even what I was looking for, but I fell into it. It's great because it takes care of me for the next 4 or 5 months. The win is, and it's kind of a funny win. Patrick was talking about this older client that I have in a particular niche. This guy's 80 years old. He woke up Thursday morning and he couldn't see out of his left eye. And it turns out when he went to the doctor, he'd had a stroke in the night and it destroyed his eyeball. So here he is. Now it's Thursday, I think. Last Thursday, he's at the hospital. They're doing the tests, MRIs, everything. And he's answering his cell phone, taking the leads that were coming in real time. He usually gets 8 to 10 calls a day. He missed 2 calls that day. And I assume he was probably in a machine somewhere, right? And that wasn't a problem. But I can tell which one he answers, of course, in lead generator and which one's not. But he's actually answering the phone when he was at the doctor's office and at the hospital. So I saw him the next day. And I know this guy. I've known him for a long time. And he's got an eye patch, and his eye was literally destroyed by the stroke. No other damage, none of this left side, right side stuff. And he's up and he's running, and he's had, in the last 3 days, just totally coincidentally, he's had the greatest call volume he's ever had, like 15 a day, one day. And he's still cooking, and his attitude is great. The irony is, the real irony in this thing is, for all of you who think a client has to look and be and act a certain way to be a winner, this guy's the worst on the phone that I have ever heard in my life. He's grumpy. He won't answer questions. He hates callers. He complains about it. He's short with them, and he goes, ugh, like this. And I don't know, just come over, that kind of stuff. He breaks all the rules. And he wrote me a check for $1,050 on Monday. I sent him a list, and I said, this is how many we sold. And 2 hours later, he had a cashier's check for me. And he does that consistently every time. So
Right.
The message is, you don't know what a good client looks like. You just don't know until you get them. Because
Right.
some of them are just,
And also don't send them so many leads that they lose the vision in one of their eyes.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. It's the one thing he hasn't complained about that I did in the last month. But
That's
anyway,
great,
I just
man.
wanted to throw those out.
Yeah, send them our best. Hopefully it's not indicative of a larger problem or another one of these comes around. So, but that's great advice, I think, for everyone, is to, like, these clients can look and sound a lot of different ways. They certainly have in our business. We've got 50 plus clients, and there's a wide range of personalities and types of people that are mixed in there. And obviously we notice patterns that exist in clients that are better, but we also have ones that kind of are outside those patterns that surprise us. Right. So, okay, I'm going to share I'm going to take the screen here, and I'm going to share some of the updates that we have done. I know in last week we had some internet issues. We were able to kind of rip out our old internet, ship that back, get a new one. Thanks to my buddy JR Fence. He has some commercial grade super internet things. So we're actually, like I said, we're out in Maine somewhere, and I have a lot better reception on my internet than I do on my cell phone, which is pretty cool. My wife is going to be starting a blog to share this. I know there's been a lot of interest in how to set this stuff up for people that want to, make this transition in this sort of lifestyle where you're traveling all over the place, being a digital nomad. So we're going to be, for those that are interested in that, I'll share more information in the future about, some of the things that we've learned. I'll say one thing that we learned in the last week is, or a week and a half, is when you have a long RV and you try to travel locally, it doesn't work well. So we bought ourselves a scooter, and I believed the guy that sold it to me and said I had 30 days. And then I got screamed at by a police officer because I didn't have it registered. And now I've got like the registration, everything sorted out, but now we've got some local. So we're figuring things out along the way. So if anyone is interested in what we figured out, we'll share that blog. We're going to kind of share our journeys and what we've done along the way too. So, but let's get back to business here. So I'm going to share my screen. We've had a number of updates that have gone live. So just kind of what's coming over the next few months is we're going to slow down the updates quite a bit and really focus on making sure everything is working perfectly. It may never be perfectly, but we're gonna try to take it in that direction as much as possible. So I'm just going to cover some of these updates for some of you guys. Okay, so every time we release an update, it seems that it creates bugs. And like I've shown you the stuff that we have in development like months ahead, and we do a lot of testing, but it seems that we can never account for every scenario until we get it live. And then there's kind of this like catch up process of like fixing things. So that's why we've released things with this kind of beta tag here. Okay, so I'm going to go back first to the update that we had a few weeks ago. So just so you guys know, we have this user roles here. Okay, so the way this works, and we're going to continue to kind of like add more permissions to this, is you can go in and create a user role. Okay, so let's say I'm going to call this one, maybe I call this one rep management, right? So what this is going to look like is I can come in here and I can change what they have access to. So this is going to turn on the getting started section over here. All this stuff is going to align with what is on the left side of this menu, right? So this will shut off the getting started section if you don't want them to see those for whatever reason. Okay, so right now, they're not going to see anything when they log in. It's just going to kind of be blank because there's no permissions have been assigned. If I want to assign them the lead management, I'll turn this on, and now this lead management would show up on their login screen. Okay, and I can decide if I want to give them access to the leads area. This is not going to override the companies that they're assigned to. So this is kind of in combination. When you create a user, you can assign them companies, and then the leads permission will only apply to the companies that they're assigned for. This will give them the option to export leads. This is the all calls. You can kind of see this is lining up with this over here. This is the spam. So just be careful with this one. We don't have all the permissions added in yet, but I wanted to give you guys kind of the flexibility to start using the user roles. So if you turn on spam, they're going to have the option to kind of edit your spam filters, right? If we were to look at this edit spam filters is up here. Additionally, they're going to see the spam messages that are from the different companies that they may not have access to. So I just want to make sure you guys are aware of that. Website forms is a really important part of our system. So you can turn that on and off. This is not something you would want clients to, if this is a client user, then make sure this is set to no, which is its default permission unless you turn it on. And contacts is another one, right? Over here, our contacts, we've kind of like fixed some of the issues here that we've had, but every lead that comes in will be added as a contact. So, and then as we move into reputation management, which is the one that we had set up, we can kind of turn things on and off, right? So this is again going to line up here. We haven't expanded for what you guys have access to yet in these other areas, but I wanted to make sure that you guys knew that this is available and working. Okay, so user roles. So how are we going to use this once I have one? So once I've created that user role, I can go in and I can edit any existing user, or when I create a new user, then I have an option to assign them whatever roles. You can see there's the rep management one that I had just created, right? So I can assign it to this user, and then when he logs in, he'll have that kind of limited access. A few things that I want to point out that we often get questions on is lead delivery settings, okay? So this is where you can decide how the leads are going to be sent to clients. So I just removed that one. So now only these three would get it, right? So you can kind of see, regardless of what the user email address associated with the account, I can add in as many email addresses. So if you have like a client that's maybe got multiple crews or multiple salespeople, and you want to distribute that lead to more people, then you can do that through there, regardless of what their email address is. Okay, so we saw, if we go over here, we saw how we can create the user role and how we can assign it to a user, right? You can also, so you can do it there, and you can do it from add new user when you go through to kind of choose. These three here are always going to be there. These are kind of like foundational to our system, but you can add in as many of these as you want. And, you know, maybe you want to have certain user roles for people within your agency. Okay, so that is the user role. All right, so let's go over to another new thing. This is the one I wanted to demo last week, but obviously we were having internet issues, so it didn't work out. Pipelines and tasks. Okay, so we kind of launched these as our 1-2 punch. So the pipeline system, you know, if any of you guys have used, there's a lot of systems out there like this, like HubSpot and these other ones, where you can create a pipeline and then you can kind of manage your pipeline and move these people through some sort of a process, right? So this is just some random pipeline that I created here. So this is when they're a prospect, and then like maybe they've gone over from being a prospect to a call is scheduled, and then they're qualified, and maybe we're going to put them on a trial, and now the deal is closed, right? And you'll notice that there's an amount associated with this. If I click on this, I can get more information. There's a lot of associations. This is why it took us a while to launch this one, is look at the different associations that exist for a deal, right? So we have the pipeline and the stage, right? And then we can choose whether it's new business or existing business. You can have an association with the company. So if I wanted this deal to be related to this company, I can add tags, right? So we have a tag here for ghosting. So if the person isn't responding, you can make whatever tags you want. You can choose the colors. You can manage the tags up here, okay, up at the top. If I scroll down here, we have tasks. So this is another new kind of like add-on that we added in the last week or so. I'll talk about more about tasks in just a second. The deals can also be associated with a contact, right? So I can see this, maybe this deal is related to this contact, Bob Jones, and then I can add notes about this deal. So it could be that like, hey, I reached out to this person and I need to follow back up with them. So that follow-up reminder is really where tasks are going to come in. And I'm going to show you what that is in just a second. So we can make as many different pipelines as we want, right? We can do that through a new pipeline here. You can create as many stages as you want. As we build this forward and we improve our user roles, your clients will have an option to use this as a pipeline system for them, okay? As we get ready to launch our campaign builder, this can be a trigger where if you move them into a different stage, then it can trigger a series of actions, text messages, emails, all sorts of different stuff. Okay, so there's a lot going on with this. This is your win probability. You can assign this whatever you want. You don't have to use this if you don't want to, okay? You can edit any of your pipelines that are here. You can see this. I can drag and drop for whatever reason I wanted to have deal closed ahead of on trial. I could do that. I could come in here and rename these as well, or I can add a deal stage or remove it, okay? So a lot of stuff. It looks like my co-host here was kicked out of the room. Give me 1 second. Let me let Jeff back in here real quick. All right, cool. All right, so that is our pipeline system. I'm going to take questions in just a second about this if those exist. Let's go over to task real quick. All right, so Jeff, are you saying something or is that just feedback? Okay, all right, I'll assume you're cool. All right, so the task. So if I want to create a task, I can come in here and click on a new task, and it could be like call Bob, right? And I can set this up as a call and email. So this would be a call, and then I can create a priority. I can assign this to a user. If I want to assign this to someone else in my agency, I can do that here. I can select the company. So just like with the pipeline,
Did he freeze up? Oh no. First it was me, I had to switch computers. I was hardwired on my other one. I don't know what the deal is. Maybe give it a second to kick in.
Have you guys discussed the GMB thing?
Which part?
Well, I can't get into any of the GMBs. It says like maintenance or something under maintenance.
Yeah, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. We can definitely get an update on it.
All right.
Yeah, he got
Did you hear me? Yeah, you got two Zooms open. So that might be why you're reverbing or something. Yeah. Yeah, I've never felt comfortable like messing with the GMBs outside of lead generated. So whenever I saw that one of mine had fell out of the maps, which I think is due to like having little like 3 reviews, I wanted to start creating like a bunch of posts for that GMB, and I just rather do it through lead generated than through the actual GMB platform. So that's why I was asking.